So
he
sick.
was going, we've got to get this one. I was like, dude, chill out. And he was telling me he was not feeling well at the time, and I said, we're walking past Centre Point, crossing the road. I'm there with him now, right? I said, oh, come on, dude, don't die on me. He died that night. Oh, dude, man, it blew. I tried to hold the fort. I was like, for 6 months, I hold the fort.
Killa Kela podcast. KillaKelaOfficial.com.
Street Culture TV.
Instagram UK Frontline.
Beatbox created.
Killa Kela.
And we're here to talk about world music and street culture.
Killa Kela podcast.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Killa Kela podcast live and direct, Central London, or as central as you need to be, choose to be, could be, want to be. You don't want to be anywhere else, and you'd be a criminal if you did. And if you're already savvy to the platform, then you've got a lot of podcasts that you've ingested so far. So thank you very much, and big shout out to all the sharers and carers, people that are subscribing and spreading the good word from the beginning. Hold tight. Okay, people, our sponsors, the mighty GK Nifty Heads, have 10,000 play-to-earn GraffPunks NFTs to give away. Get ready as London's white trash goes blockchain digital with Bitcoin Cash tokens locked into them to claim. Get yourselves over to the website gkniftyheads.com and play to earn now. Inside the house, we have a gentleman that orbits around the character nature of graffiti and street art in the UK. Not just a regular, linesman of the alphabetical degree. We're talking about characterful, vivid characters within the comic field, and however he puts that up on the wall, I have no idea. But he comes from a great legacy, 26 Leek Street, hold tight, stock in the building. Well, it's good to have you here, bro.
Thank you, man.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. You were chilling, man. Chilling. I mean, it's a little bit muggy today, isn't it? But
Yeah. I love this place, man. I love it.
yeah, big up Moot. Yes, North Wheezy in the place. And yeah, you're North Wheezy pretty much originally, aren't you?
Yeah, it's West London, Ealing. I'm an Ealing boy, and I'm now living in Hamworth, sort of Twickenham sides.
What's Twickenham saying? Because I haven't been there for ages. Is it bubbling?
Yeah, well, we got the two spots. We got the Unigate and we got the circles. To some of the old guys, it's the
Bruv, Unigate is crazy. Unigate for me is just like,
Yeah.
it's like the world's biggest trek.
Yeah.
And when you get there, it's like this mad sanctuary of just nothing but pillars and graff.
Yeah, they've tried to lock it down a couple of times, but people still get in. We still get in.
It's that. Actually, I'm not even going to indulge in it because if you can get in, you get in. If you know, you know, and it's not the easiest of fucking. It's just
They've kind of
Krypton factor.
We've taken as well. Some of the guys have taken cut a hole in the fence now because before it was like proper Mission Impossible.
Yeah,
like
it's
you're
horrible.
shimmying.
Absolute scary,
like,
horrible bullshit.
yeah.
Not me. I mean, it turned me off going there instantly. It's like it just can't happen.
Yeah.
I'm too old for this.
Yeah, it's a good spot. If I rarely paint there now, but it was a good starting block, especially that big back wall.
Sure.
But they've kind of blocked that off now. They've put like I think it's the workmen use it for all their tools and things for fixing the roads, and now they've just like put all like pallets in front of it, so you can't really paint that one. And there's a big lane piece there now anyway, so no one touches that. No one touches that bit.
Yeah. So I mean, there's your legacy right there. That period, are we talking like what, late 90s?
I think so. Yeah. Well, I've only been painting there for the last three or 4 years, but I'm just like that next layer for but it's still good, still going strong. Circles is good. It's a bit overgrown right now, but it comes in. It comes in phases, But it's a good starting block for new guys to go there and just lay down your stuff and
lay
learn,
it down.
Yeah.
At this point, actually, I want to big up my brother Stock for this piece of absolute genius. Yeah, man, we got the goodies. This is a crazy book, and it really does illustrate in every sense what you're all about. I mean. From first impressions, and this is something that I've always valued about what you do, you've got this kind of psychedelic kind of 90s grunge, hyper-global T-shirt kind of thing going on.
Supercalifragilistic.
yeah, with some really, symbolic lettering that then runs into what is, I guess, a cross between manga meets DC.
Yeah,
it's just out there, bruv.
Yeah, I like mixing the style. I play with colour. That's my main signature in what I do. Is I mix the colours up, so they're fighting each other in a positive sense, that they're contrasting each other. So when you get that vibration of colour, then I know that's what I'm going to go with the colour scheme.
Give me an example of that where it's, where it shouldn't, but it does.
Obviously, like blue and reds, they're always clashing. You've got that kind of blurry vibration going on when you paint when they're side by side, and I kind of do that with the other colours.
Like a yellow and purple kind of thing.
Yeah, it's always that all colour on the edge, and that's what I get the buzz from that. Because what it does, it stops you as somebody walking past it. You'll turn and you'll look at it because it's bringing your attention. There's like vibration going on in the piece. And I'm always learning. It's like 3 years in now doing large walls and painting walls, and I'm constantly learning every day. I'm still learning. I'm still not happy with my finishing. I need to learn my finishing. Just make it a bit more tighter, but then I don't want to contradict that and take away my looseness and my sketchy kind of...
Because when does graffiti stop being graph?
Yeah,
it needs to feel human in some respects.
I could do portraits. I could do the portrait thing, but I always come back to the rawness of the graph. Okay, I'm not doing lettering. I can do lettering, but I'm always bringing it back to the raw element of painting a wall.
Yeah.
And you're never going to be happy. If you're happy with it, then it's, that's perfect and that's great. But that not being happy is giving me that hunger to learn more and to try and evolve it, constantly evolving all the time and keeping it fresh. And I'll do a bout of 9 pictures on a subject at 9 different walls, and then that's it. I've done that. I've done that selection of work, and I move on to something completely different. And it's that no man's land of creativity is where I thrive from it, because I'm constantly like looking, and then something will come off in the horizon, and I go with that, and then that boots up the next phase and the next phase,
I love the no
something
man's
like
land.
It's method in the madness,
Yeah, but it's that introverted perspective that you have where you're looking inside and trying to figure out, okay, how far have I pushed myself? Am I in the dark here? Where the fuck am I going? That's what you thrive on.
Yeah, like I'll give you an example. Like we did Cheltenham, and I was doing using loads of fluoros in my pieces leading up to it, and I painted the same spot than the year before, and Skewer just comes along and he just smashes this one piece out of the park. And literally, it was just like so clean. It was just simple colours, detail was just phenomenal, and it was just like, damn, chuck the phone down and go, what am I doing? But what that did was, not in a negative sense, but in a positive sense, because he leveled up. He went ching, 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 ching. And then everybody around him was like, wow. Dude, he's bringing fire to the table, man. All of us need to level up. And I did them set of, I did those 4 or 5 gorilla pieces. Not on the wall, but I did it on my iPad, and I just went back to basics and sketched and put something together. It looks mad, a darker madness, but it put me on that next path of, from September onwards, I need to up my game.
That would send anxiety down me, though, like the idea of hold on a minute. Press delete. Everything that I was doing up to this point, I've now got. I mean, that takes a level of creative bravery in itself, doesn't it?
Because it's that self... I go through phases where I doubt what I'm doing, and I have to look back. That's why I always put a book together. Anybody who's known me, I've always walked for the last 30 to 35 years on off. I've always seen me walking around with a black folder or like a catalogue of work. I do, because what it does, you open the book up, and that self-doubt goes, yeah, I like that bit, what I was doing right there. I wasn't feeling it right then, but now I'm going to look back on that on a retrospective point of view and go, I'm going to follow that avenue, because you've got those ideas down in your book, but you never follow it up until you get to that point where you don't know where you're going, and then you go back to that kind of those ideas, and then you follow it up, because what you're doing, you're putting that marker down for you to follow it up on a later date, you know.
So fucking sick.
So yeah, it's proper madness, but it's like, for instance, if I'm doing a job or someone wants me to do like, got an idea, can you run this for me? And they will say it to you. I will come back in 5 minutes, because I'm in that position where I can go, yeah, right, this is what you want. No, give me 2 seconds, and I'll just get all the images and I'll put it together, mix it up, and they're thinking I'm going to get back to them in a day or so. I'm just like, what do you think of that? They're like, what? You know? And
so you've got the whole combination.
I was never like that. I suffered from like writer's block, from artistry block, where I would knock out 6 or 7 paintings, canvas paintings, like in one go, and then not paint for like 6 months to 2 years. That's what I suffered from, because I didn't follow that dream. I didn't follow that.
Is that because of the work ethic? Because when people do things like oil paintings, or things that take a good period of time, it's almost like the well kind of empties on that one thing, and you feel so self-accomplished, and there's no more in the tank.
Yeah,
but
and it's
hard.
And it's a lonely, painting canvases and being an artist is very lonely when you're painting on a canvas. Some people love that and they like the solitude on it, but for me, the process of doing like a canvas would take me 5 to 6 weeks. Well, maybe, I got it sped down to a quicker finish, but it was just like the anxiety. I hated the anxiety, and I did work experience back in when I was 14. My friend Nick Blackmore, his dad was like a big advertising executive thing. So me, Matt, Nick, we worked up in Lexington Street. And in those days, it was like Illustrator. It was like quick firing off. And for the first week, we were like, yeah, this is great, just pissing about. Stupid me goes, hey, can you give me some work to do? Like, I want to prove to myself. He went, you sure, James? I was like, yeah, just give it to me. And I learnt the hard, and it scared me. So 14 years old, I was scarred from that, because it was like, no, that's shit. No, that's shit. No, that's crap. That's crap.
God, brutal.
And it was just like, I don't want to be an artist. And then obviously hip hop came on the scene. Yeah. I went to Twyford High School, and all my peers and all my guys I went to school with were like either dancing for Cookie Crew, Toye danced for Pump Up the Jam, and they were like sort of doing the break dancing during lunchtime, and I was going, I need to do some of this.
So you had like all the peers in your place.
Man. Tony Nesbitt danced. You'll know him from Fast Love video. That's with Shawnee B as well. And then Toye, Mark Gunpot, Adrian Nesbitt was Tony's brother. They danced for Cookie Crew.
Wow.
And then Turnham Green, I got into skateboarding because my American friend Matt Eaton, he lived in Turnham Green. My nan lived in Turnham Green, so it was like second home to me. And we cut our sort of loin in Turnham Green. So Trevor, he was the BMXer. He ended up dancing for Pet Shop Boys, Trevor and Mark. They on that tour.
What?
And then obviously went to college, pursued the dancing with, like, I loved it, just hip hop dancing. To me, it was just like...
Kid and play kind of era.
Kind of, yeah, high top. Okay, yeah, I went through a lot of bottles of Shockwaves, let's put it that way. But the high top was the way, man. It was just like, you had your I weren't into the chippy jeans or anything like that, because I couldn't afford that. It was like, I'm Mr. Byright, went to Mr. Byright, was the Primark of the day, and just got the garments. But the thing you had to put on your feet was the shoes. That was a status symbol.
Yeah.
So you had ballet of Switzerland.
Yeah.
And
wow, yeah, of course.
Obviously you had if you couldn't afford that, you had to go Shelley's and get the Vikings. But that was like, are you going to drive around in an XR2 or are you going to dance with like a Rolls Royce Bentley on your feet, you know?
What an analogy.
And,
That's fucking genius.
Well, XR2 was okay, mate.
XR2's
all
right.
That had proper status back in the day, but
Hell yeah. Fucking genius.
yeah. So Ealing, you know, I lived in. We had a great network. We had a great crew in
And
Ealing.
Graff as well. Not
Yeah,
just,
so you had a lot of the guys went to Latimer. I'm not going to say their real names, but you had Folk, Asia. They were VFL, early VFL. Well, TK, I think it was early TK, and then Asmar. A lot of the Ealing guys. Ealing was vibrant. The Jamiroquai come from Ealing. He was from those sides, and you had a great buzz. It was a great buzz, especially 88, 89, Haven Green. You know, anybody was in
fucking
Haven
bet.
Green.
Wow.
Richmond College. So that West is always best to me, you know, because that's the way we were brought up in the West, you know. But just great, vibrant. You know, it was a big buzzing. It was 1990. You know, it's like you're either going down the rave scene or you're still on the hip hop scene. And then Dance Energy came about, and that was it. I was hooked. Met Hugo. He was part of the AFS crew, but he's famous dancer of old time. Jazz dancer, Calvin, Toots. He ended up you'll know him from Fast Love Again. He was the one who had all the devil horns and was doing all the jazz movements and stuff.
Wow.
And then you had Dance Energy and Normski and the rest is history, man. You know, it's like me, I was always chasing that camera. It was like, freaking cameraman's like, he's coming over again, quick.
Complete opposite to what
The goal was to get on Dancer of the Week, right?
Yeah.
And I thought I got on it. I did like 2, 3, 4 seasons of it, right? And then they moved up to Manchester. But that first night, we're outside Wembley Park, right? And I've forgotten the name of the studio. I've forgotten the name. It doesn't matter. And every single crew's tried to reach it. There's about 300 people outside, right, trying to get in. And I had the ticket because Hugo gave it to me from college. He said, yeah, to get to the door, and then when they open the door, say this, right? So I'm with my man Chris, and we knocked on the door, and he went, are you guys from Manchester? And I was like, yeah, we're from Manchester. They went, right, quick,
You're
get
from
in.
Manchester.
I said, Chris, do not talk, just get in there. Anyway, we got raided, we got tapped out again, we got back in again. Oh, and the early acts, you had anybody on that show, like, from, you name the list.
Yeah, totally.
I see...
Like Baby D.
Everybody, like, even the American guys, I can't...
Fast Side, all that lot.
Yeah, man, I can't even... London Posse, that was one of the big ones for me.
They used to have the news section as well, which I always found particularly...
Yeah, so the early cool SL2, Prodigy was on it.
Yeah.
I was like, what's all this dance stuff? You know, the hardcore stuff. I didn't really pay attention to it.
So you're hip hop through and through.
Yeah, I'm hip hop always, man.
Always
you know, I got into the dance bit in the rave scene in the end.
Yeah.
I did the dancing for the early days of Laserdrome.
Damn.
Yeah, man. So I worked for Laserdrome every week for, you know, the Fun City
Crazy.
Day. That was before that Fun City. So Headcase, we used to go to Fun City every week to watch Headcase. He's like 15 years old, you know. And so that good group of people, George, who did the Kidology, producer for the Kidology stuff, he was an Ealing guy. Joseph Kentish, he's my crew, Turnham Green crew. He's like Mr. Universal now. He runs Universal Music. He's like, it's just amazing, you know, because obviously I got into music, which is completely, you know, different from the hip-hop days. So I'm wearing all the grunge, the flares and the long hair, mad psychedelia kind of saxophone-orientated kind of fusion jazz.
Oh, you play sax?
No, I didn't play sax. Jesse played the sax.
So what were you
but
doing?
I was a lead singer.
Get the fuck out
Yeah,
of
so
here.
leading. I was like the Mad Hatter. I used to wear top hat and tails and.
Is there
on the
nothing
early
you can
days.
do? Like, is it, Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
I wore
like, you
different
were,
shoes, man.
yo.
Different shoes, but it always come back to the art. Always come back to the art, you know. And obviously, my drummer, Johnny J, bless him, he was into the graph. So he was hanging out with like the early days of like Amber and Inza, Zeal, all them guys from Ealing, the younger crew coming up, you know.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, come and do some painting." And there's me like saying, "Yeah, I used to paint. You know, I was in VFL, class of '92." And like, it went over his head. He was like, "Yeah, you're just talking rubbish, you know, kind of thing." And I showed him some of my stuff, showed some of the outlines. I said, "All right, let's go and paint. There's a place we used to paint, which was in Kew, and it was the Grundig warehouse, right?"
Wow.
And so, where do we get paint, Johnny? He went, "You've got to go Wheelhouse, man. It's like 25p a can." I'm like, nah. So every Saturday you would go down to Wheelhouse. Anybody who knows Wheelhouse will know Wheelhouse. 25p a can.
This is fucking great, by the way.
Take your big bag, and then fill it up. You're walking away with 50 cans for like £10.50.
That's unfucking real.
It was crazy. And so I go to Grundig, did a few pieces there. My lettering was whack, you know. I'm not a letters guy. I'm always a character guy. My last piece I done there, and I was always talking about Asia. I'll bump into Asia, and you know, and hopefully he will, you know, he might always looking to the door to see if he would, you know, come. And that last time I thought, this is it. I'm not going to do it no more. And he come through the door. It was like the intro to Kung Fu back in the 70s, like the haze, the sun haze, and this like figure coming through, and he's like, "Whoa, what you doing here?" And we were like chatting. Oh, it was the last time we painted together. And the last thing I said to him was like, "Dude, we need to get this on canvas. We need to start doing graph on canvas." This is like 99. This was.
Wow, so this is early.
Yeah, before like all exploded. And I never followed it up. That was it. He had the early digital camera, so God knows how many flicks he's got of history of what people were doing back then. I would love for him to, but he's living in Sri Lanka now. Bless him. You know, the same with Richmond College. I dabbled in Richmond. I ran a DJ booth in Richmond College. Okay, I did the second big piece in there. Because Sean and PFB, they did the one for our friend Andy, who passed away in I think it was 1990.
Right.
He just died he just died like at some party. I think it was at some party. I can't remember. I can't remember the timeline, but
Wow.
so Sean and PFB, Roz and me, and all the guys, they did this wicked piece, and I had to follow that up like sort of 2 years later. So we had so obviously I got Mean and Asia on that to help me with the lettering, because I did all the characters.
Big up Mean, big up Asia.
At the time you had Yanni and you had DJ4. They were doing the DJing and hanging out in the booth as well. I said, "Yeah, come down, man, come down and paint," kind of thing, and because they were into the graph thing as well, and not knowing who they were, you know, I knew them for the 2 years I was there, and then I did a second piece because they moved the office over to the corner, and then that was it till then. I worked at Richmond Cinema. Odyssey worked at Richmond Cinema, so I knew Odyssey from that.
Wow.
And we would like sit up on the stairs, and he would say, "Yeah, I'm into the graph game, man." And it showed me these like characters. I was like, "Damn, his character work is proper next level."
Wow.
So like I've been in and out. So come to the 2000s, my brother-in-law, he's got a framing shop on the New Kings Road, Parsons Green sides, right?
Right.
And he said, "I've got some guys coming through the door and they want you to do some graph, James." I went, "Well, I'm not really a grapher, but okay, I'll do it. And the guy was Ben Moore. So he's the one who done the Stormtrooper guy, he ended up doing...
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yes, I know.
stormtrooper.
Yes,
So,
yes,
he
yes.
used to go around
Sick.
in the pink stormtrooper outfit.
Yeah, dude, I remember this.
And
yeah.
he said, can you do some graph on the stormtrooper thing for it? I went, yeah, go on then. I went, I was charging them silly money, like, oh, I'll do it for 600 quid. You know, because I didn't know how to price things. So I'd done it. It was like 3/4 piece. All my like early like VFL swirly curly kind of, and I dropped in my depot and I dropped in my son's and I subtle tags here, there, and everywhere because he's a conceptual artist. He'll go around with his book and I've got an idea, and then he'll get the guys like me to do the work for him.
Right, okay.
Bless him. You know,
Okay,
that's
gotcha.
you know, the rest is history, and everybody knows his story, right?
Yeah.
But I was the first guy, and I don't want to like big it up, and people just laugh at me when I say it, but I was the first guy to paint the stormtrooper. So on the documentary, they'll go, I was the first. Yeah, that's great, he was in that sense when he was hitting it big time.
Yeah.
But you look up on his wall in his bedroom, and you see the picture in the corner.
And that's you.
And he's got his pink stormtrooper, my one's in the background. I don't want to claim it, because the guy ghosted me when he had his opening day. You know, I went up to him and went, wow, this looks great, man. He walked straight past me. I was like, man, that's not cool,
Really?
man. He ghosted me, man, and it was like, sweet. He finally come and said hello, but it was just like, I don't really want you to be here, James. And I was like, yeah, okay.
Because he wants to take the full credit.
Yeah, but it was his idea. It was, I need some graph on my piece. Can you do that for me? And he paid me for it. So that was great. Then he approached me again. He said, look, can you do something for me again? I was like, oh, dude, man, I kind of don't really want to. But I charged him. I said, this is how much it's going to cost. And he went, I can't pay you, but I can give you 4 spots on the underground. So he was doing the art below stuff.
Right, okay.
On the underground. So he had all up-and-coming artists. And he's an entrepreneur, man. So that's his business.
So
that's how he
moving.
makes his living.
Yeah.
So I had 4 spots. I painted for him the Gay Shavar picture, which was on the underground, and the Boris Becker. So it was Boris Johnson playing tennis, superimposed onto Boris Becker's thing. And it was great, and we got 4 spots, bless him. Thanks for those spots. And I gave one to my brother-in-law, and he had Russell Square, I had London Bridge, Old Street was a good one for me. So that was, and then Paddington. So I had those 4 spots, you know.
That's sweet as fuck.
And then I went quiet again. Obviously working for Fuller's. And I locked myself away because 96, my friend Depot, he passed away.
Rest in peace, Depot, yeah.
He was like my early grounder. He would read me, because I was like, being Charlie Big Potatoes back in the 90s. I was hip-hop, I wanted to get into graph. You know, I was like doing the tagging. I was like proper toy, you know. And obviously, the argument there was arguments and beef and all that kind of stuff. But he was saying, dude, do not do this, do not do that. If you want to survive in the graph scene, because he went to school with, I think it was a year below a Mace. A Mace went to oratory. So he was an oratory boy himself. And so he did the Little Met from Hammersmith upwards. And then he got nicked. He put the frighteners on it. But his characters and his flow and his everything was just like, he said, if you ever do a character, there's the character. You've got to use this character. And I was like, man, this character's wicked. I've used it. I used it for the showcase nights. And just to show him honour, Anyway, to cut a long story, we went to London. We were getting into like the little, like, not lead figures, but like models and
the
Predator.
things.
Yeah, kind of. That's where I was learning all the detail and fine.
Of course you did. That makes complete sense.
Yeah, so Warhammer was the way, you know.
Fuck yeah.
And
That's so
he
sick.
was going, we've got to get this one. I was like, dude, chill out. And he was telling me he was not feeling well at the time, and I said, we're walking past Centre Point, crossing the road. I'm there with him now, right? I said, oh, come on, dude, don't die on me. He died that night. Oh, dude, man, it blew. I tried to hold the fort. I was like, for 6 months, I hold the fort. I've just met my wife, Kelly, who I've been with 30 years. Bless her, love you. And
That's
6 months
crazy.
later, man, I had a breakdown. It was like I hit a brick wall, and it was just like all my confidence and all my years after that, I was just on autopilot. But I had to shut. I worked for Disney. I was working for Disney. I was like, hey, hello, and then to have a breakdown, creatively, mentally, and everything. I locked myself away for 25 years. Working for Fuller's, and shut myself away in the confidence and watching the world go by. And obviously I did things like the Ben Moore thing, and I was dabbling in and dabbling out and dabbling in. And then bless my good family friends, Tristan and Matty, and they're the ones from the start. They're the ones, bless Matt, I love him to bits. We reconnected. We had a kind of a falling out before he left, and then we reconnected. He rang me and we reset. Over the years, then Tristan popped over in 2000. I'm walking down Acton. He's like, "Yo, Jet Stucky, what's going on, man?" And I'm like, "Whoa, what are you doing here? What are you doing here?" I'm with my guys, man. We're over from America. We're doing the graph thing, and I'm just like, it's gone over my head. That day, he was with Shepherd Ferry. That was his guy.
Bro.
He was like, come over, we're going to hit the scene. I'm
This
like,
is serendipitous,
yeah, man,
man.
I can't do it, blah, 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 I just, that moment just moved. It moved out. I just walked, it just went over my head. So he went to Sheen School. Over the years, I see a paste up in Sheen. I know I'm sidetracking. Sorry if I'm sidetracking.
No, it's cool. This is fucking
There's a paste up in where the Waitrose is, and I'm going. That's where everybody used to hit, to do your graph bit. And it was the Andre the Giant paste up, right? And I went, yeah, it's all right. It's just a paste thing, And I was like, I like that. And didn't think nothing until later on in those years. Like Matt's come over, he's saying Tris is blowing up, he's doing it. Obviously Tristan, he's done years and years and years of grafting in New York. Yeah. And same with Matt. Matt was running galleries in New York and Detroit and everything. And it's going over my head like I'm sort of, yeah, man. Because I'm the green guy. I treat everybody on the same kill. I don't do a fanboy. If I do a fanboy thing, then I can't connect with you because I put you on a pedestal type thing. So I learned to say, guys, man, I'm going to treat everybody the same. Even if you're the biggest artist in the world, I got to connect you on the level.
Yeah, on a ground level.
On a ground level because... And then cut the speeding up the storyline because it's jaded and it's jagged and I'm cutting in and... That's me.
I'm loving
people who know me, that's me, man.
Did you hear the jagged cutting? This show's mind works. That's how stock minds work, right? That's
I've gone
incredible.
to Matt. We've reconnected. Mum bless. We love you, Jill, man. She was there. And he read the riot act on me because I was trying to explain to him what I was doing. And he was going, dude, because I'm a visual artist. I was illustrator, so I do portrait stuff. He goes, that's great, man. I love what you're doing. But that's Jimi Hendrix and that's David Bowie and that's Bob Dylan and that's all these icons because I was into icons and I was into like painting, but doing it in my colourful way. He goes, that's great, but the colour scheme, you're hitting it and your overall composition is perfect, James. So cut the famous guy out and carry on with that. I said, yeah, but I can't paint. He goes, dude, you have to paint every day. Even if it hurts, because it used to hurt the anxiety, like of trying to paint.
Sure, hurt the bank balance as well. I mean, it's not easy keeping up with the payments for paint.
Dude, and I learned 2 hours a day, 2 hours a day, 2 hours a day. Even when I was working
sketching.
Just colour scheme.
Schemes.
He said, and start taking your own photographs, get your own reference, right? So I was like taking photographs, and then they said, dude, we could come to Denmark. What's happening in Denmark? And he goes, me and Tris are doing a piece at like the Museum of Modern Art. And then my eyes opened. And I hadn't painted graph for like, I hadn't lifted up a spray can for like a good 15 years, 16 years. And it was great because Tris was like, I said, oh, let me help you. He went, no. And I was like, oh, why not? He goes, because this is mine and Matt's piece. We're doing this, and you can help with the tape and marking up, but it was like he was teaching me how this is the job. I'm serious. I'm serious, you know. And he said, right, we're going to go and see some very Viking burial ground, right? It's surreal, right? Matt stayed at the place. And we're sitting on this like 3,000-year-old burial site, right? And I just said to him, how do you do this? He says, you need to drop everything, James. You drop your work and you become a full-time artist and you live and breathe it, the killer instinct. And I was like, oh my God, I've got a work, I've got my kids,
come on, Carl.
I've got my, you know, I wasn't there. And mentally I wasn't there,
wow.
you know. And he said, right, come on, we're jamming tomorrow. We're going to go to the park and we're going to paint, right? And he wanted me to paint alongside him to see where I was, right? And I did my little curly whirlies and I did my character from 92. And because I couldn't think of anything. My mind went blank because I was put on the spot. And he's like, he's knocked up an Obelix from Asterix in 2 seconds flat. And I'm running out of paint. And I've gone, what? And it was like...
Mad.
Because for me, Tristan was the 9-year-old Tristan. There's me coming in from school with Matt, with my skateboard and my folder, like Charlie Big Potatoes, going, yeah, Tristan, man, how's it going? Like, thinking I was fly and I was the guy, right? This guy was like just learning the craft at 9, learning the craft at 11, 10, 11, 12, going, when they went back to America, scrubbing them statues and putting in that hard work. Bless Randy, and we love you, Randy. Up in the sky, man, we love you.
Yeah, we got Randy.
Was putting him on the right track, and now he's Tristan Eaton. And if people did their research, anybody who knows me, I always big him up because he's my brother. I've known him since I was knee high, and I'm so proud of what he's doing, right? And then he said, you need to do it, James. Now it's your turn. Now you need to do it. And I was like, how the fuck am I going to do that? But sorry if I swore, right? COVID came, and then I just saw the light. I did 50 canvases. Okay, I was a canvas guy at the time. And then I was having shit at work, and then bless my wife, she's put me in that position because she's such a hard worker. She's a novelist. She goes under B page. She's written 35 books. We go to all the book signings. And I'm so proud of her. And she said, now it's time to give up that work. F them lot. Because I had shit for 25. It was horrible. It's a different story. And then I just come onto the scene and I'm like, how am I going to do this? And then Matt and Trish are over again because they were visiting. He said, we're going into Shoreditch. Come and meet the guys. So, you had Jim Vision, Tizer.
We got T.
Remy was there.
Yeah,
all the
Remy.
guys are there. So John Broome he's a great actor in the day back in the 2000s. Didn't pursue it. We love you, John, man. But he's an entrepreneur now. He's like, it's fantastic. He said, do you remember Ed? And I'm like, who's Ed? I'm like, way with the fairies. So it's Tizer. Tizer and Shooks used to hang out with us when we were younger. And I'm like, shit, sorry, dude, man. He's like, yo, remember that time? I'm like, shh, don't say that. Because we got up to some craziness back in the day, you know? But it was great. I was reconnecting with all these people who I knew back in the day. I was like, I didn't have to pull out the receipts. They were pulling, they go, yeah, I remember that. And he said, right, do this. And I was sweating, man. I was doing my piece. I'm in front of all them peers, right? I'm like, these are the heavyweights, right, of the street art scene in Shoreditch, right? I'm sweating, and then he got no Banksy for him. He's laughing. He's going, who's this guy over here? You know, Matt's laughing, and Johnny, they're going, anyway, Jim just comes out of the blue, and he goes, add a bit of colour on that. Bring that blue in. And I'm like, and I'm just like, it all clicked. Okay, it was just a simple character, and I was just like...
Figuring it out.
Bringing it to the table. But I learned from when we was in Denmark, do not falter and stick to, because I've got Tristan next to me, I got Arthur next to me, D-Bug's next to me. I've got Jim, Tizer, them just knocking it out trackside fast, man. It's like, bam, 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 I'm finished now. And I'm like the last one, still standing, like, finishing off. And then it was great. We had good photographs. And then Tristan went, hang out with these guys. Look after James, his fucking family, blah, blah, blah. And that was my ticket into that Shoreditch world. And then every year, every 6 months, we always update the wall. So we've got something going on next week, which is going to be great. And obviously, I'm still painting in where I'm coming. So you've got the likes of 47, XLV, I like that. We worked together at Richmond Cinema with Odyssey and all them guys. So we had that kind of
camaraderie,
yeah. And then because he encouraged me to come back on the scene, because I was doing stencils, I was doing 15-layer stencils on canvas. You know, it was so my first piece at the Circles was a 40-foot stencil, 5-layer stencil. I've cut all these stencils,
Jesus.
6 foot. Right, I'm turned up. So that was my Gorillas by Night piece. So I go under Gorillas by Night.
Yeah.
That's my street art thing, right? And people thought I was on crack, insane, going, what's he doing? But it stayed up for 2 months because people were like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
And obviously I evolved and I moved away from the stencil side of it because it takes too long to cut those stencils, you know. But I appreciated what a stencil artist did. So then I thought, right, I need to get this. I need certain tools. So I got a projector. I didn't give a shit. It was like, because I couldn't understand the doodle grid in it. It was like Matrix in front of me. I was like, how did they do this Matrix?
Yeah, a lot of
thing?
people get stuck on that.
So I reached out to Sky High, bless Sky High. Thanks for all the help, dude, man.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone was going, no, he'd never get back to you, James. And I was like, he fucking got back to me the day I reached out to him. Bless him.
Yeah, good peoples.
You know, and he gave me a spot in Kingston. And so what the level of the work I was doing was like, what I was doing for my canvas was like 15 layers, 25 different layers of madness. And the guys on the scene were like, who's this dude, man? He's like taking up 200 foot of my wall. We're just going to dog him out, you know? And it was like, for me, to be dogged out was like, it was like ripping my heart out. It was like 92 rules again. It was like, I've gone into Urban Paints, bless Urban Paints. They're not with us no more, sure. But that was a great hub for everybody to reach, you know. And I've gone in there, they've dogged me out, you know. And then 47 was there and he went, James, this is now 2022, dude. You need to learn it. You're not going to survive. You're not going to survive, man. You got to learn it that once you do your piece, you get your flicks,
and then
off. That is it. Yeah. It's and I learned it hard. And I thought, yeah, you're right, man. What am I thinking? That's me like cycling down to the freaking Circles from my house going, oh my God, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. What are you doing? You're not going to survive. And then I learned hard on the earliest possible thing to be open, bring the next guy in. It's like evolve, constantly evolve. I need more content. Then Jiver reached out to me, man. Bless Jiver, man.
Big up. You know, and big up D-Bug as well, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, peoples.
All these matriarchs, all these like top dogs of their area was like saying, dude, we love what you're doing. This is wicked. We want more. Can you do this? And so they saw the level of speed I would do that. So we need this concept, and I would just fly it out, bam, 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 you know. And they were like, whoa, slow down. I said, I can't slow down. You've asked me to do something. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then I reached out to Insa and Amber because I recognised Amber from I went, I know this guy. He's gone back to me and he said, we're having a jam down Latimer. Come down and paint. And I was thinking, oh no, Latimer, man, it's the pit. It's West London. You never paint there. Thinking of the old days when it was you would never venture out there. That was for the big boys, you know. Yeah. Got there, and then the rest is history. And we painted that wall for a year and a half. We did 11 productions there. and we were taking ourselves out. It was blessed to everybody who loved what we brought to the table there.
Yeah.
You know, it was for the community. And then we met Chris, who works with the Westway Trust. Akit was there. They do all the stuff for the community.
Big up Akit, yeah.
And I said, I haven't seen Diet for ages. They went, I'll get him to come out. And then it was just like, oh, man, all these things were flying back in. Jan had his book signing. And I thought, everyone was like,
I am in the pocket.
He was going, I'll go up and say hello to him. And he was like, whoa, Stocky, man, what are you doing here? And I'm like, it was like one of those needle on the record scratch moments, right? Everyone was like looking at me and it was like, yo, this is Stocky from back at college days, wow. And then everybody carried on, like sort of the party carried on and stuff. But my mission to end, I know I'm fast tracking, there's loads to take in, but my mission is to bring everybody together, right? Is bring all these receipts together and look at and when you're doing your tax thing, right? You're bringing it together and you're calculating it up and you're making one kind of scene. And then I started painting down Leek Street, right? And 26 Leek Street, blessed 26 Leek Street.
Yeah, big up 26 Leek Street,
right?
Yeah.
They gave me an opportunity to put on two showcase nights, which we did. And the first one, it was just like a West London finest thing, because I reached out. And we had South London, we had the WOM Collective as well.
Nice, big up
through
WOM.
Shauna Blanchfield. She's a hardcore artist, a street artist. And we worked together at 26. And with her like paperwork and emails and a management side of it, and me gathering the troops and her gathering the troops, we put that first showcase night on, and it was just like proper Kevin Costner Field of Dreams moment. You know, we had 500 people reach that night, and it was like, and everyone walked away like scratching their heads going, you know, what was that all about? But what for me it was a celebration and all the people who reached
together.
out to me and it gave me an olive branch onto the scene. And it was a celebration night for that. Then the 26 said, can we have another one in December? And I thought, no, I'm not cashing this in, man. Each show's different. Each show's got to be new and fresh. So bless Stir and Ecto, they gave me a spot in Southend last year. And in the east sides of England, you've got all them graph guys, man, from the Lakeside, all those crews.
For sure.
You got Pens, you got all the South Side crew, right? And this one, which we held in January, Showcase 2 night, it was like North, South, East and West, because we're all the best. And I'm bringing the licks in there, right? Because we need to show the London, south of England. But I thought, no, let's reach out to the guys in Birmingham, Manchester, because you got Mike from Spray Days Official, does the Junkyard Jam. That's on this weekend. Can't wait to reach it. So Urge had all his models, all the Lakeside models, right? And he had like the likes of Void and all them guys from the north. So we represented that as well, and it was just like it started to become the whole of England's Great Britain's finest, right? And we thought, all right, we'll bring out the tickets, right? They all sold out, 1,500, because they were free. What it was, it's free. I'm not going to charge no one from in the door, because it's open to everybody. And the goal was, even if you're starting, right, Graph, if you've got that energy and that vibrance of like, I need to learn, I'm this new guy, I'm going to give you that opportunity. You're going to paint, even if you've only been painting for 3 weeks, right? If I like your energy, you're going to paint alongside me, because that's what I was taught. You know, I had beef and I was like, there's a different story. I'm not going to go into that story back in the 90s. But the likes of Asia, Diet, Kaiser, the original Kaiser, right, brought me in. We need you, James. You're the character guy. We're doing Crazy Larry's. We need to do the club. And we did the early commissions. Like back in the early days, we did it for like silly money, like 50 quid or like stupidness, right? But they taught me the Vandals for Life, the VFL way is you bring the next man in. You don't teach the next man to be a see you next Tuesday. That is our goal, is like, you've got to bring that energy, nurture that energy. And my showcase was those values. You know, so I've got the next man, I've got a wall, and you're mixed amongst all the big heavy dogs in that room. It's not going to be, you're with the new guys in that corner, you're here, there, and everywhere. And we had 1,000 people turn up that night.
That's incredible.
And we had like old names, like 85 guys turning up. I can't think of their names because there's the green guy again. You know, I see people I recognise people from their face, and obviously we had a great night. People walked away again, like it was that buzz of that scene, you know, and hopefully we'll have another one in the future. But right now, for me, I got to think of myself and what not in that negative sense. Still bringing everybody along with me if they want to come and join the journey. But there's me thinking I want to do international. I want to get on to Meeting of the Stars. I've done Finland. I've got Kosovo in a couple of weeks.
Wow.
I'm going back to Winwood, which Tris was running. Had his own show there last year. He had the Museum of Hip Hop and the Museum of Graffiti. He was running that year with his own show, and he introduced me to the likes of Meeting Shepherd again. And I mentioned that time when them two came over and they did the paste ups and stuff, and they were like, "Wow, what?" They couldn't even remember that, but they were there, and they went, "Oh, I remember that," you know, by me saying that to them and meeting like you name it. Like all these like OGs from the Star Wars of 84,
Crazy.
85 in that film, which we always used to watch. That's where I'm at right now, and there's, you know, I could say more, but you know we're running out of time, and to the next time, to the next wall. That's always the goal, to the next wall.
Hell
you know?
yeah.
You know?
What a fucking interesting story. I mean, thank you for running it off, because honestly, I was just spellbound by the whole.
Sorry, there
fucking
are other
incredible.
stuff as well.
I was like, yeah, that's
but,
great.
you know,
It's almost like let it
code
go,
names
let
and
it go.
everything, you know. But you know, come and see me, and I'll tell you. But
Yeah, and he's about 26 Leet Street, or
Yeah.
you know, out on the streets.
Shoreditch next week.
Shoreditch next week.
Yeah.
See, know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then
What he's about.
There's loads of walls we do, man. But,
Yeah. Well, this won't be the last time you come on podcast. You know what I mean? Let's
Well,
do it.
yeah, come back on part 2, you know.
Come on. That's what we're at. That's what we're
We'll
at.
delve in, you know.
My
Yeah,
brother,
man.
it's been an absolute fucking
Bro,
pleasure
man,
having
thank
you
you
on.
for
What a
reaching out
fucking
to me,
st-
man.
I love these ones. Fucking great. Yo, thank you so much for the book as well. Buddha
Yeah, no
boom,
worries,
boom,
man.
Killa Kela podcast. Outlining was our fashion. You know what I mean? Another insight of information, intel, passed on generation to generation for future inspirations of peoples and their artworks. Yo, remember, crime don't pay, but neither do they. All right? So don't talk to them, and I wouldn't. And you stay lucky, people. Easy. How's that?
Oh.